Scientists say they're baffled about the strange behaviour of the sun. Our star really should be quite active, but right now it seems to be falling a bit silent. Researchers say there's a chance we may be heading for a solar lull. If that's the case, it could have consequences for us here on Earth. Our science correspondent Rebecca Morell explains.
This is what the sun looks like at its most active, erupting with giant flares and coronal mass ejections that send vast clouds of charged particles into space, its surface peppered with sunspots. And right now, that's what we should see, because our star is at the solar maximum, the peak of its 11-year cycle of activity. Instead, something strange is happening. The sun is eerily quiet.
I've been a solar physicist for 30 years. I've never seen anything quite like this. If you want to go back to see when the sun was this inactive in terms of the minimum we've just had and the peak that we have now, you've got to go back about 100 years.
He thinks this fall in activity could mirror a period in the 17th century called the Maunder Minimum, where sunspots virtually disappeared. It coincided with a series of extremely cold winters across Europe. Paintings of London from that time show frost fairs taking place on the Thames. The Maunder Minimum came at a time when snow cover was longer and more frequent. It wasn't just the Thames that froze over, the Baltic Sea did too. Crop failures and famines were widespread across northern Europe. So does a decline in solar activity mean plunging temperatures for decades to come?
We estimate that within about 40 years from now, there's about a 10 to 20, probably near a 20% probability that we will actually be back in Maunder minimum conditions by that time.
This complex system is currently an active area of research.
The world we live in today is very different to the world that was inhabited during the Maunder Minimum. So we have human activity, we've had the Industrial Revolution, all kinds of gases being pumped into the atmosphere. So on the one hand, you've got perhaps a cooling sun, but on the other hand you've got human activity that can counter that. And I think it is quite difficult to say actually how these two are going to compete and what the consequences then are.
But this wouldn't be the only effect. The northern lights, which happen when solar winds hit the Earth's upper atmosphere, may also fade if the sun continues to grow silent. Rebecca Morell, BBC News.